With Asana, AI teammates can pull real-time data and help keep work on track, so every team can work smarter and faster. Asana, the #1 AI work management platform. Try for free today at asana.com.
Good morning. Here's your 2-minute warning. If you want to grab something else to eat, get a drink, we'll be starting in 2 minutes. Good morning. And good morning to everyone who's joining us on the live stream, working hard in your offices or maybe working hard at home in your home office. So regardless of where you are, we're happy to have you back. I did leave my apron on for breakfast because Todd and I decided it was a good look and we earned them. So we're leaving them on. So let's get started. I lost my button pusher. Where'd Tati go? Thank you, Todd. That's why we need the apron still. We're working. That's right. So we're going to start in just a moment with introductions, and we're going to do it the way we used to do in the past, where everybody who's been hired since the last spring convocation is going to come line up in the front so we can introduce our newest warriors. After that, we'll have some celebrations. We'll talk about a special project we have going. Then we are going to have the university strategic plan presented, a really great student panel with the president, and we should be done by 11. All right, so if you are newly hired, please join us up at the front. All right, I know there's more than this. So those of you that are supervisors in the audience that know your shy people are still in their seats, please encourage them to come up. Because normally it goes from that wall to this one. Yeah? I knew there was somebody. No, you're good. Actually, for the purpose of the live streaming, why don't y'all all come in front of the stage? You're welcome. And here's the part you weren't prepared for. You introduce yourself and where you're working, and then something that you'd like to share about yourself. Some interesting fact, something we wouldn't know, something you really just need to get off your chest, whatever you decide to do, okay? And I'm going to start to my right. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is LaTanya Jeter. I go by Tanya.
Well, I am, so they probably thought it was on. It is. Just put it close and go for it.
Yes. My name is LaTanya Jeter. I go by Tanya. I'm the senior admin in the Warrior Success. Something about me, over 20 years in the military, is military intelligence.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Delightsome. I am a web applications developer here. I just got hired last month, and I am a former student of this wonderful school.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeremiah Sosa. I'm a digital communications specialist here. I just got hired at the beginning of this month, so still fairly new. And something about me is I'm from San Antonio, so I love the Spurs. Go Spurs, go.
Hi, I'm Kendall Smith. I'm an assistant professor in the psychology area. Yeah, and then something about me is I have an almost 5-year-old and an almost 3-year-old. Yeah, so hands full, yeah.
Hello, everybody. Good morning. My name is Lorena Gutierrez. I work in the HR department as a part-time HR assistant. Today is actually a month that I've been here, so it's pretty cool. Fun thing about me is, I guess fun thing, yeah, it was fun. I was in the Air Force close to 7 years as a medic, and then now I'm just continuing my education and my career in HR. So thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Yulun Tai. I'm a newcoming faculty. I think I work at the Department of Education Leadership. My major is exercise physiology. I was in UT Rio Grande Valley for 6 years. So yeah, it's my new job.
I'm shy. Am I in the frame? My name is Chad Pettit. I'm the director of the University Writing and Learning Center and also adjunct professor of English here. And something about me, a lot of people say they are living the dream. I actually am. I've dreamed of working here and doing what I'm doing. I love this place.
Hi, I'm Vitalis Dubeninkas. I am going to be an assistant biology professor here. And I guess a fun fact for me, in a past life, I was a professional skateboarder, but now I'm on to biology.
Hi, I'm Lori Webb, and as of August 1st, I'm the Dean of the College of Education and Human Development. I came from A&M San Antonio, so San Antonio person. And something, I don't know that's fun for you, but something that not a lot of people know is that I have multiple certifications in sailing. And so we take a sailing trip every year. Yeah.
Thank you. Help me welcome our newest warriors. Thank you. Y'all can go back. Well, everybody's going back to their seats. I guess I should have introduced myself, in case y'all don't know me. I've been here for 19 years, so I just assume everybody knows me. My name is Kelly Cood. I'm currently have the privilege of serving as the interim provost for the university. Dr. Peg officially retired yesterday. Yeah, I know, me too. But she is provost emerita, which means she still gets to come around and consult and tell us how to be better. So, which like she's awesome at. So, really miss her. First convocation without her, but she's prepared us all well. If you're interested in the job, which I am not. The priority deadline closes the 1st of September. So if you or somebody you know is interested, there's a huge, really deep pool. I think after they took everybody out who didn't minimally qualify, there were still over 60 people. So the committee's working very hard on your behalf, going over a lot of applications. But the good news is that that's a good deep pool, and we are hoping to have interviews as early as October. And so maybe we'll have a new provost for the next convocation. So if not, I'll continue to serve until still not. So again, really glad y'all are here. And let's get on with the celebrations. Clicker. Okay, you're telling me it's going to work. Ah, good, it did. Yay, thank you. All right, so first, we'd like to recognize everyone who went up for tenure and promotion. Tenure is a really important thing for faculty. All the time you're working here before, it's kind of like we're dating. Tenure says we want to marry you. And so it's a big deal. And it normally comes with, normally you're assistant professor, you're moving up to associate professor, which is a senior faculty member for us. And it's a big deal, and we're really happy to have so many people staying and continuing to grow with us. And so moving from getting tenure and being promoted to associate professor, if they're here, please stand. We have Dr. Leila Ordenzeva. Dr. Anthony Fulmer. Dr. Raul DeVetti. Dr. Calhoun Dow. And Dr. Samantha Earhart-Laraga. Yay! And we also have some promotions. So these are people that either already had tenure or are not on a tenure track. But promotion, still very exciting thing to celebrate. So, Dr. Lucas Loafman has been promoted to full professor in the College of Business Administration. Dr. Michelle Quinones, associate lecturer. Miss Bridget McCafferty, a senior librarian. Yeah. And Miss Vicki Estes, I saw Vicki earlier. Yeah, there she is. Yeah. Associate librarian. And Michelle Shea, associate librarian. Thank you. And our library staff is a very important part of our faculty, so we're really excited about how many people went up this year for promotion. And now we'll go to distinguished graduate faculty. So this is people who are tenured and who have maintained a distinguished research agenda. It takes quite a number of publications, grants, books, over an extended period of time. As a matter of fact, if everybody who, not on this list, everybody who was already a distinguished professor, because I see a few in the audience, could they stand, please? And now we have 3 people joining the ranks. First, Dr. Mike Daly. Come on up. Distinguished graduate faculty comes with a very impressive medal that you get to wear at graduation and a one-time stipend. Congratulations, Mike. Dr. Timothy Hemmis. And Dr. Abhishek Nag. I just want to mention that these faculty members are, their applications turned in by their peers, and I don't make the decision, it's voted on by the graduate council, so it's a big deal to get it. So congratulations again. All right, now a little more celebrations from the College of Arts and Sciences. Dr. Mike Daly was recently appointed to the Council on Social Work Education Commission on Educational Policy. So, congratulations. Other notable things from the college, they just had their Master in Public Administration. It's been approved all the way through the system, the coordinating board, and it's gone to SACS as a notification. As soon as they tell us, yeah, we got it and everything looks good, they're free to start. So we're thinking any day now you're going to start seeing advertisements and marketing for them, and hopefully starting in UCheck in the spring. They also have a Master of Science in Nursing Administration. It's already passed the System Board of Regents and gone to the coordinating board. This one will take a little bit longer because it's new. The MPA was less than 50% new content, so it went quick. But this one will take a little bit longer. And then the Master of Social Work has also been approved by the board and is at the coordinating board right now. So as soon as those two are approved by the coordinating board, the next step is SACS, and then we'll get started. All right. Education and Human Development. So the Marriage and Family Therapy Program got full accreditation. They are now COAMFT certified. Yes. That's a really big deal. Not only is the accreditation prestigious, but their chaplains, we service Army chaplains through that program, and you need that accreditation to work on the post as a chaplain, as a marriage and family therapist. So it's been a long time coming. They worked really hard to get it, so congratulations. Clinical mental health counseling got their KCREP accreditation in 23-24, and right after you get it, it's like SACS. Now you have to do another report, an interim report. You have to keep proving that you deserve it, and they recently went through both of those, and they are now fully accredited through October 27. So, congratulations. College of Education just started PsyChi, which is an International Honor Society in Psychology, and this last, I believe it was April, they inducted 42 students and faculty at their inaugural celebration. So, the State Board for Educator Certification really recently recognized Texas A&M University, Central Texas, for our performance. They only have like 4 categories they give special honors for, and we got one of them this year. So that's a big deal for rigorous and robust preparation in the principal survey performance. So. And they have a Doctor of Education in Ed Leadership, our first doctoral level program in EDD. And it is at the coordinating board for approval. It's already passed system. And just yesterday morning, the coordinating board contacted me and said, if all goes well, we plan on doing a site visit in January. So, fresh off the presses. The Center for Faculty Engagement, we had 2 more faculty members, Lavanya Alluri and Michelle Shea, completed their AQ Effective Online Teaching Practices certification, and they will, at a future ceremony, be getting their medallions and pins. And we did the first cohort, I say we, Lisa, the center did, the first cohort of the revised Fostering a Culture of Belonging, which, as y'all know and you'll see later, is a very important part of where we're going moving forward. And we had, as part of that Warrior U Title III grant, 26 faculty and staff completed in May, and 4 others completed by going through the system because they were a little off schedule, I think. So, but that's 30 people already gone through. That's amazing. So congratulations. Thank you to Dr. Bunkowski. And it just keeps going. There's so many more things that we could talk about. The library just finished their first new year in the library system. They got their first with the lab techs all in the library. That was a big move, a shift in not only location, but all the things that come with that. And as Chad mentioned, we have expanded what was previously our University Writing Center with the new doctoral level coming, with our focus on student success. We've moved to the next phase, which is an expansion into now being the Writing and Learning Center. Although Dr. Edmonds complained that's not a sexy enough title, and so I think he's going to have a contest for at least a cool nickname. So more about that later. But we have more new programs. We have at least 3 right now that the College of Business Administration is working on, new degree programs. So we have an amazing year ahead of us. So congratulations. It's very exciting. So happy to be doing it with all of y'all. So. And finally, I'd like to ask Dr. Black to come up. As you know, we have partnered with Southwest Elementary in Belton ISD to do book donation for their school. She's going to come up and talk about it, introduce some of our new partners. I know some of you have already brought your books. We're going to be able to continue bringing them for some time. Our goal is to get 100. Are we? Yes. We'll beat that. We always do. So please, Linda, come on up and introduce our guests.
Good morning. I'd like to say thank you from the Curriculum and Instruction Department and the College of Education and Human Development, as well as from Dr. Rhodes and I, for everybody who brought their books today. But our book drive will continue till the end of September, upstairs, third floor. Please donate. When Dr. Rhodes and I were talking about this project this summer, we said, what a wonderful idea that really shows our commitment not only to quality education here at TAMUCT, but also to our commitment to our community, which we all serve as well. We chose Southwest Elementary in Belton ISD for the first school that we're going to be honoring and taking up books for. We have close to, Jamie, 94 already, 94 books today, but we will continue until the end of September, so please bring your books. I'd like to introduce the librarian for the District of Belton ISD and also the librarian at Southwest Elementary School. We have Melissa here, Melinda Lanham from the district, and Michelle Martinez as well, and they're going to just say thank you.
Good morning. On behalf of Southwest Elementary, I want to express our sincere gratitude to A&M Central Texas for their generous donation of books to our students. Your support means the world to us and will have a profound impact on the lives of our students. Books are the gateways to countless worlds, sparking imagination, fostering empathy, and building knowledge. With this incredible gift, you are not just donating books, you are investing in the future of our community. Each and every child deserves the opportunity to explore the joy of reading, and thanks to your generosity, we are one step closer to making that a reality. These books will inspire our students to become lifelong learners, critical thinkers, and compassionate individuals. They will open doors to new possibilities and help our children reach their full potential. Thank you again, A&M Central Texas, for your commitment to education and for sharing your knowledge and resources with us. We are truly grateful for your partnership. Thank you.
Books that were donated this morning? Thank you, and please donate.
Thank you. Now, 9 minutes ahead of schedule. I'm so proud. I'm going to turn it over to Dan to talk to us about our university strategic plan.
Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to join you today. And just a little bit of a personal note, really was thrilled to be able to join Convocation, and particularly after seeing these slides. The whole point of a strategic plan for a university is to future-proof it for the community and for you all as employees, as community members, as students. And so to see all of the advances that are being made by the university in terms of advancing faculty to tenure, advancing all of the accreditations of your schools, et cetera. And then this last part, for me personally, and JP, my colleague, and I were just talking, to see you all investing in the future education in your community is very, very impressive to me on a personal level, as an educator, as child of educators, as husband of an educator, as father of somebody being educated in education. So I really do appreciate the opportunity to work with you all, which gets right to my point to start us off. I'm very thankful and grateful to Dr. Rhodes and his team for allowing me and CampusWorks, the company that I work for, the opportunity to work with you all on this strategic plan. It has been an incredible experience over the last couple of months since February, and we're very, very grateful for the partnership Texas A&M University Central Texas is uniquely positioned in the U.S., frankly, globally, in a lot of ways, and those ways really came through in the work that we did. I'd like to welcome my colleague, JP, up to the stage to tell you all a little bit more about who we are and why we were engaged with you in this important work. JP?
All right, thank you very much. I am very appreciative as well to be able to be with you. And I've been in the background working with Dan and the team that's been kind of your strategic team leading this. And so to watch this process come and unfold together has been very, very fulfilling. This is one of the things that we love to do with the work that we do at Campus Works. Strategic planning is just one piece of a big part of our company. But we really, really appreciate when we have those opportunities to work with our institutions in a way where we get to see the future and future think and not just solve the problems that they're facing today. As a company that does serve higher education, we do both those things, though. We do those things where we're helping them future-proof. We're helping them solve the challenges that they have today. We've been around since 1999, and we are a company that is truly dedicated towards higher education. Our team is really consisting of professionals that have spent their entire careers serving in and around higher education. Many of us have served on different levels of leadership within campuses, and we really, truly try to make sure that when we are working with a campus, we put those types of lenses through our conversations and our dialogue. We've had experiences at a lot of great places, but what we find is as we start to take our experiences and work with you and your experiences is when you really start to find that magic happen and really start to see the overall type of a strategic plan like we've done here come together in a way that's meaningful to the campus community. And that's the way that we really like to partnership with each of these institutions that we work with. So we've been very fortunate here to come into this team and with this leadership, with Dr. Rhodes as your president, and all those individuals that have really shown to us the commitment that you have as a campus community. And we're really, really grateful, and you'll see, I think, as we go through this conversation and presentation today, just how well involved the community can be in this process. And we look forward to seeing you take this and adopt it in a way that is meaningful back to your students, your community, this area of Killeen, and just in general, the world being able to continue to support through education in many positive ways. So we really try to focus again on making sure there's results, that it's action-oriented. I hope you'll see that as we go through our presentation today. In just a few short months, I think we've really come together and been very grateful that you have developed this plan with just a little bit of guidance and help from my colleague Dan and myself and a few others. So the only other part that I was really going to introduce today is the team that specifically worked with this. You all know Dan very well. Again, I'm JP Spagnuolo. And then our president and CEO, Liz Murphy, has also been very in tune and making sure that we are staying on task with it as well. But those are some of our leaders within our organization. So thank you for having us. I'm going to turn over to Dan to where the important part of today's conversation goes as it relates to strategic planning.
Okay. Everybody excited? I loved the guy that's running the Writing Center, how he was talking about how he loves working here. It's his dream job. That's amazing to hear and really telling with what we tried to accomplish with this strategic plan. As JP mentioned, this is not our strategic plan. This is a strategic plan that was written by the Texas A&M University Central Texas community, both campus community and community members writ large. We had over 750 different people contributing to the strategic plan that we ended up with. That's a lot of people involved in the development of a document that articulates your future. We got input from all kinds of community members. We got input from faculty. We got input from staff. And to me, most important, we got input from a wide range of potential prospective learners as well as current learners. And that translated into a strategic plan that is developed by you, for you, and will continue to drive you guys moving forward. I'm not going to read each of these events, but what you can see going clockwise is from the very beginning, we involved a significant number of people in the events that we executed because it takes a village to run a university, and you can't really expect that President Rhodes and his executive leadership team will know all the ins and outs of what needs to happen to ensure the university is future-proofed. We met here in this room in February to define the ideal student experience, which was the core principle of all the work that we did. So it's great to be back in the same room with a final product that really does exemplify what we're trying to accomplish with our strategic plan. I wanted to take a moment to thank the core group of people that were involved in the development of the plan. This is a cross-functional team that contained community members, faculty, staff, and students that helped to develop the core components of the strategic plan. I want to take a moment to thank 3 people in particular. They're over on the left-hand side of the screen, and I'm going to ask them to please continue standing or to go ahead and stand up. Vicki. Vicki, Brandon, and Alan, Dr. Alan Redmond, Dr. Brandon Griggs, and Ms. Vicki Ferguson were our Strategic Planning Committee Tri-Chairs. Round of applause for these guys. They provided the leadership to ensure that what we were doing actually met the needs of all of these constituents. And for those of you that have met Alan, Brandon, and Vicki, you can be assured that they were not quiet about the needs of the stakeholders. They really made sure that what we were doing was driving us towards an end result that future-proofed the university. You'll also notice that there are some asterisks next to names of folks on the list in the committee. These folks, and I'd ask them to stand as well if they're in the house, Andrea Schwegler, I'm going to read these, Stephanie, Tina, who am I missing? I'm missing Jonathan and Lisa. If you are in, please stand up. These guys, after we developed the strategies that the Tri-Chairs are going to tell you about, these guys volunteered to, Alba. Alba, sorry. These guys volunteered to lead the teams that wrote the strategies, objectives, and action plans. Time-consuming endeavor on top of what I assume are full-time jobs. So really, really want to thank all of you for taking on that leadership role. You can see, moving from left to right, all of these different events that we indicated were contributed to by community members, faculty, staff, and students, sort of linear in approach. They build on themselves. We started in this room identifying what the ideal student experience would be. We then did a big survey to everybody and their brother that's ever even thought about this institution to get their feedback on what the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats were. And that really helped define where we put our focus in terms of strategic themes. From there, we took data and developed a set of topics for what we call a future summit, which was also in this room, as I recall, where we had speakers from outside the university explaining to us and providing color as to why the strategic themes are in fact important to the growth of the end users of the university product. We had people from the military community, from the local business community, from schools, coming and talking to us about why what we do is critically important. That's the point, right? This is not an inside-out approach. This is not you guys alone telling me what you think is awesome about the school. That's great, but we need the end user people telling us what they need from you so that you can evolve to meet their needs. And that's what happened with the next set of points. We got a ton of data. A ton of data. In fact, 42 pages worth of data that the teams then used to develop strategies, working with the executive leadership team to define the school's mission, the school's vision, and then rolling up their sleeves to get down and dirty in developing objectives and action plans to produce a refreshed strategic plan that I'm pleased to let you know the executive leadership team confirmed, I think it was last week, perhaps the week before. Now we move into the real work, actually doing it. Because as JP mentioned, we, CampusWorks, would consider this a major failure if we simply provided Dr. Rhodes a pretty PDF that sits on a website and nobody ever looks back at again. I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt that that's not going to happen, because we were in a strategic planning workshop last week and one of your peers raised his hand and said, hey, how can we hold the executive leadership team accountable for making sure that we actually execute the strategic plan? And we had a good long discussion about that, and he forced me to go back and change the final report that we provided to the president and his team to include a community-driven council that will hold President Rhodes accountable for ensuring that we execute the strategic plan. That's never happened to me before. I've never seen the community say, hey, we put in a bunch of work, we want to make sure that work happens. So we added that to the program, and I thought that was phenomenal. I do want to welcome our distinguished guest, Dr. Rhodes, up to the stage to talk a little bit about the thing that does come from the center outward. What is the school supposed to be doing, its mission? What is its future aspiration? And what are the core fundamental things that underpin all that we do? In a strategic planning nerd talk, that's mission, vision, and values. And I'm going to let Dr. Rhodes speak a little bit to those points. Dr. Rhodes?
Well, good morning, warriors. Okay. Are you awake after having a pancake breakfast? Okay. Did you get enough bacon? Sausage? Did anybody get pancakes with a face? Okay. Well, you should have. No, I want to first of all take time to say thank you to a lot of people. First of all, took a lot of work to plan this. And where is Lisa and the team? Is Lisa outside? Can you bring her in and so we can recognize her? She's hiding. She's cleaning up the mess of the pancakes. Okay, so Lisa, want to say thank you. Took a lot of work and planning to put this together. You and a big team made it happen. So everybody who helped Lisa put this together, please stand up. Sean, I'm not seeing you stand up. Yeah. All right. Thank you. You can go back to work now. And then we had a great team of voluntold individuals who actually cooked the pancakes, served the pancakes this morning. And so I'd like all of those from the different organizations to please stand up and be recognized too. So as Todd is so proud of that apron that we may not get it off of him. I also want to recognize Dr. Linda Black. And did Linda step out? Oh, there you are. You move seats. So, Linda is responsible for the book drive that we did. She came to my office and she said, I have a good idea. Maybe it's a crazy idea, but it's a good idea. And I thought, that is a great idea. And so I want to say thank you, Dr. Linda Black, for putting that together, having a conscience for the future of our young people through reading. And they become the leaders of the future. And thank you for doing that. That was awesome. And, if you don't know, this is our 15-year anniversary as a university. Congratulations. So I hope you all got commemorative coins for us to remember this 15-year anniversary occasion. But when I say anniversary, it reminds me of something that's coming up in my life. And that is my special wife, Kate, is with us today. Kate, stand up. She helps serve, but it is special. August the 31st is our 46th wedding anniversary. I also want to have Dr. Kelly Cood stand up. She is doing a phenomenal job. She also is very proud of that apron. As we begin to talk about the strategic plan and what's going on, I can't say enough. I've been through a lot over my 47-year career history in higher education. I've been through a lot of strategic plan initiatives and processes. I have not participated in one as extensive, inclusive, and valuable as the one that we've done here at Texas A&M University Central Texas. And I want to say a real strong thank you to Dan and JP. You did an amazing job of keeping us on task, making sure we had the hard, courageous conversations necessary to come up with a good strategic plan. And so would you please just stand up and take a bow? Amazing. As we talk about a strategic plan, one of my good friends, a guy named Dr. Uri Treisman, who is from that other university down the road, he was executive director for the Dana Center at the University of Texas at Austin, which is, I will tell you, he is probably a premier mathematician in the world. Not just in the University of Texas, not just in the state of Texas, but nationally and internationally recognized for his work in mathematics and looking at multiple mathematic pathways for students depending on what their major is. Well, Uri, as a good friend, commonly used when he makes presentations, he calls it, because it was not hard, it was not easy to convince people that, statistics might be a better math pathway for certain career pathways as opposed to calculus. That was not necessarily popular with a lot of mathematics professors across the country. And so he would always talk about that journey of development as a joyful conspiracy. And I would say that, anytime you do a strategic plan, you're really talking about a joyful conspiracy on how we transform education for the future. As I grew up, I've told a lot of groups, I was a very distracted student when I was in K-12. I didn't get serious until I finally got into college and university area. And that turned my life around. I truly believe and found that education is freedom. It is the freedom for opportunity. It is a freedom to move forward. It is a freedom to have families and to develop. And so that is, so once I got into college, some of my professors, as we had conversations in our classes, would describe me as a futurist, because I was really interested in that point in time, what is the future of education? What does the future look like for us? And so I remember I had one special faculty member who, actually a couple of different ones. One of them was in literature, and she said, Richard, you know, I noticed that what you like to read is about the future and taking a look at it. And she says, so let me give you 3 recommended books for you to read. Now, granted, this was not yesterday. This was back in the late 60s, early 70s. So the books were Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. Another one happened to be Soylent Green. Has anybody read Soylent Green? A few of you, yeah. Well, that was not one I would recommend for young people. It might be good for us. And then the other one was 1984 by George Orwell. And so I took her advice. I did read those, and I gave reports on those and talked about those, and were very meaningful. Well, just about 3 months ago, my son and I were writing together, just the two of us, and we often talk about books that we have read and books over our life that have meant something to us. And I know I'm on a rabbit trail, but I hope that's okay. So anyway, I said, so here, these 3 books were recommended to me back when I was a college student. And I said, they are futurist books. And he said, 1984? He said, Dad, do you know that was 40 years ago? But those things, so when we're thinking about a strategic plan, and we're thinking about a mission, a vision, and the values, which is the platform upon which we develop and look to the future, that's what we're at today. And then we talk about how do we put it into action. And what it does, what it did for me with the strategic plan as we developed it, it forced me to think about my own life and how education, and because of universities, have transformed my life moving forward. And so it forces you to think about specific individuals that had that impact on you. One other faculty member that I will tell you about too is Dr. David Townsend, that he was the first faculty member that really took a deep interest in me. And he taught world history. And in one of our conversations in class, I was talking about the fact that we happened to be on World War II, and I was talking about the fact that my mother was a Navy nurse. She was physically stationed at Pearl Harbor when it was bombed. My father was a Navy Seabee, so he was actively engaged on building bridges and roads and runways on the islands in the Pacific during World War II. So I talked about that. So he said, so Richard, have you ever read about the Navy nurses on Pearl Harbor? So he gave me the book. And then he said, and I understand your dad was a Seabee. Have you ever watched the movie, The Fighting Seabees, with John Wayne? And I said, John Wayne? John Wayne's a cowboy. He said, no, watch the movie, The Fighting Seabees. So I did, and read more about it. So you understand what your parents and where you come from and what's important. And so, but like I say, I start thinking about, on this strategic plan, what's important to us as educators and what's important to us in the future. And as it is so hard when you think about what is our mission statement going to be, because you want to put this into it, and you want to put this into it, and this. And the next thing you know, you have 5-page mission statement, which is impossible. A mission statement is supposed to be short, concise, memorable, and very focused on what's important to you as an institution. And so that's what I'm going to show you real quick. This is our mission statement. And it's intended to be short, concise, and a view of what's important to us. And so what is our reason for being? And I will highlight certain words in there. Empowers students. I felt when I got into higher education, that's what it did for me at the college and universities I attended. It empowered me as an individual to make a difference. Through innovation, it is up to us. If we try to be the same institution in higher education that higher education was 50 years ago, we'll be a failure. We have to continue to innovate and be creative. And so innovative education practices are critical to the future, and that's what we have to believe in. Transformative experiences. And I may take a little, one more rabbit trail on this, because transformative experiences are critical combination. And actually, when we do the panel of our students, you're going to hear why that's so important. But I'll tell you from my own life why that's so important. Is things like cooperative education experiences, or experiences through Delta Sigma Pi, which is a professional business fraternity that I belong to. Different things like that. It forced me to think about, and I made a list of individuals over the years, and it was a full page. Kate happened to see that list, and she said, "You're not going to spend time talking about every one of those individuals today, are you?" And I said, "I wish I could," because when I think about our mission statement, I received transformative experiences in my education journey, not based on what the curriculum was, or not based on what the buildings were like, based on people, individuals who made a difference in my life, relationships that were built during that period of time. And so when we think about Texas A&M Central Texas University, we are a university. And when you think about a university, yes, of course, teaching and learning is important. Research is important. Looking at public service is important. And so when you think about a university, those are three critical components. You don't have to restate that in the mission statement. What you have to do is focus on where you're headed with all of that behind you. So what happens? Then we use that innovation, we use that empowerment, those transformative experiences that we give our students, we use that then to allow them to develop through personal growth, positioned with economic mobility, and lifelong success. And that's where we want to be. And lifelong success will include lifelong learning, because it is no longer one and done bachelor's degree. It is no longer one and done master's degree or PhD or EDD. It is a continuous journey for all of us. And so hopefully our students leave here knowing that, and it's critical to the future. So I love this mission statement. As Dan mentioned, it was very inclusive. A lot of people gave a lot of input, time and effort to make this happen, and I just have to tell you how much I appreciate that. Now the vision statement usually is even more concise, because it is looking way out into the future and where we want to be. And some people say, well, national leader? Well, if it were my idea, I would put international leader, but I would also say the best in the galaxy. Our aspiration should always be at the highest level. Don't sell ourselves short. We have an amazing faculty and staff at this institution, an amazing leadership team that come together and look at each student individually and say, how can we make their lives better? That's why we're here, to make their lives better, give them opportunities. So we do want to be a national leader, at least. High quality credentials that lead to educational, economic, social, and personal fulfillment. And that's, you know, if you take a step back and you think about, okay, we're saying we want that for our students. That's what each one of us wants, right? As individuals. So why would it be any different to have that same affirmation, desire for our students, every single student that comes to us? So once again, I love the vision statement that came out of this. And then what is the platform? You know, when we think about, okay, if we have that vision statement and we're going to change lives, and we have that mission statement, vision statement, we've got it out there. What is the basis, the foundation that we believe in that's going to allow that to happen? It is not by coincidence that integrity is the number one on the list. That we have to do what we say we're going to do. And we have to hold ourselves accountable collectively. It's not up to one person. It is up to us as a collective body to hold ourselves accountable and to be people, an institution of integrity. We believe in that. I said a lot about innovation. Innovation is the core of the future. Creativity. You know, one of the things that I've done in the past is had leadership academies for all employees to be able to go through to develop their leadership skills. And one of the hardest areas, I will tell you, for most people, is using that side of the brain that is the creative side of the brain. And one of the things that I used to do in leadership academies is have a good friend whose name is Amado Pena, who is a famed Southwest artist. And so we would bring him in for a leadership academy, and everybody in the leadership academy had to paint a picture and then describe what that meant to them. And that whole process, you find people who said, I'm not an artist, and they make the most beautiful painting that you can ever imagine. It is to think creatively, which a lot of us never take the time to do. You know, we do what we know and don't take the time to think outside of that. How do I think creatively to do something different, to improve the delivery of education, to improve how our students receive what we need to make sure that the skill sets they have to go out into the future. So creativity, excellence in education, you know, so everything we do should be based on believing that we are going to provide them the excellence necessary to be successful. The next one I will say is caring support. So when I think about, I told you I think about my own personal journey. You know, at those institutions, and that Dr. David Townsend or Dr. Quirnbach, who was the literature faculty member that made me read some other books that maybe I didn't want to read. Those individuals showed me that they cared what happened to me. They cared about me. And that's exactly what has to be a platform. Kind of the basis of what we are as an institution is caring support. It is, I don't care if it's the faculty, the police officers, everybody has a vested interest in making sure that our students feel that and know that we care about their future, that we care about why they're here and the experience they're going to get while they're here. And then the community connection. So You know, I've always had a mantra that innovation plus collaboration equals transformation. We cannot do it by ourselves. And as individuals, we can't do anything by ourselves. Collectively, we can make a real difference. And collectively, outside of the institution, bringing in partners, whether it is nonprofits, K-12s, our community college partners, our university sisters and partners, business and industry. Bring all of those together, that is transformative. Collaboration is critical to the future of our institution, but it's critical to the future of our country. And so I believe deeply in these values that defines us as an institution. So I am going to mention a couple of the names that Kate said I probably shouldn't spend much time on, but I've got to, just as an example of why those three pieces of our strategic plan are so critical: the mission, the vision, and the values. And it goes back to things that happen. So I'm a student at New Mexico State University. You know, like I told you, I was a distracted student. I went my first year to a community college in my community because I didn't feel like I belonged in higher education. And I worked in a butcher shop at the time. And I recognized that I didn't want to be in that butcher shop 20 years later doing the same job that I saw the people I work for doing. I wanted something different, and it had to be transformational. And so those two faculty members I talked about, they gave me part of that transformation. But it wasn't just them. It was an advisor who told me, Richard, these are the courses you have to take, and this is why it's important that you take these, and this is why it's important that you take these in this sequence, and this is why it's important that you don't, because you're working full-time, it's important that you don't try to overdo it. So don't try to take 15 hours. You can't handle that when you're working full-time. And don't use this combination of classes. Don't take your chemistry, biology, and calculus at the same time. Make sure that you have a good, solid plan. And so that's an advisor. And then at lunchtime, I love to play ping pong, table tennis. Haven't played in a while, but I love to then. So at lunchtime, we'd always get out there and play. So Rec Services, guy named Steve Yee comes up and he says, hey, Richard, I noticed you like to play ping pong a lot. You know, we've got a ping pong tournament coming up. Why don't you become a part of Rec Services and participate in this? Well, by golly, I won. But you know, it got me involved. It got me engaged with other students who were there. It got me engaged in things that were happening there. So I transferred to New Mexico State University and didn't hardly know anybody there. And so I wasn't sure what my major was going to be. I thought it was going to be engineering. Ended up in accounting because I needed a job through a co-op internship while I was there. But people like Dr. Maury Hamilton, who is in charge of career services and co-op internships, made sure that I understand what my career pathway should be and would be and what I needed to think about. But it was also, I happened to be at a reception in the College of Business. And I'm at the reception, and the dean of the college, Dr. Bryce Brisbane, came over and talked to me personally and had a special conversation with me and said, hey, tell me a little bit about yourself. And I said, you want me to talk to you? You're the dean. And we had a great conversation. And then at the end of the conversation, he says, we have this organization called Delta Sigma Pi. It's a professional business fraternity. Have you thought about joining this? No, I didn't even know it existed. And so I ended up joining that. And he says, but when you join this organization, you have to have a big brother. So somebody who's going to work with you and make sure that, you're going to be a strong member of the organization. And so you're going to have a big brother. And he says, I know this guy who actually happens to be the budget director at the university. And he can, I'm sure he'll be your big brother. And sure enough, he was. And became a member. And part of the tradition in that is you have to learn the Greek alphabet. And believe it or not, that comes in handy. Matter of fact, just last week, I think I was playing Mini. How many of you play New York Times games? Like Wordle and Connections and what's that one? Strands, yes. And then the Mini. Well, Kate and I I am really on a rabbit trail. Kate and I play these games, and for the Mini, then it's kind of competition on who can do it the fastest. And last week I got one done in like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And I thought, I am really proud of myself. So I said, Kate, how long did it take you to do the Mini today? And she said, let me look. 1 minute and 3 seconds. God. Which reminded me that she and I took a class together on our master's degree program. And one more rabbit trail, okay. Took a class together, and guys, do not ever take a class with your spouse. It can be unhealthy. But we took this class together, and our instructor was Dr. Roy Rodriguez. And Kate was his teacher, was the teacher's pet. And anyway, we would turn in papers, and she always got a better grade than I got. And so here's a piece of advice that came from that personal relationship. So Dr. Roy Rodriguez, he says, Richard, Kate writes she is an excellent writer. And you can have some improvement in that area. Why don't you think about allowing her through the rest of the semester to edit your papers? That is ingenious. Can she also write them for me? So anyway, she did. I improved. And then a few years later, I had to write my PhD dissertation. Who do you think my editor was? Yeah, Kate. So, but all of those personal relationships, mentoring along the way, that's what we do. That's what we do here at the university. We take the time to make a difference, and that's important. And I apologize for spending so much more time than I was supposed to, but I think it's important that we personalize stories to understand why this makes a difference, because I challenge each and every one of you to think about your pathway in higher education. Who were those people that made the difference, that may have challenged you, that may have given you some really good advice? Who were they? Because when I stand up here and I look out at the audience, those people are you. And when we get our students up here at the end of this program for a conversation, you make a difference in their lives. And 40 years from now, when they're up here talking about, as a president of the university, talking about their experience, they're going to remember your names because you personally invested in them. Because this is us. The mission, the vision, and the values, that defines us as an institution. So I thank you for that, and it's time to turn it over. So Dan, you're up next, okay. So thank you for allowing me to take some rabbit trails and to use a personal story. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Just wanted to take a brief moment. We didn't have caring support on this list, and I was virtually in Dr. Rhodes' office, and he explained to me very, very briefly, well, maybe not so briefly, but he explained to me why it was so important for caring support to be one of the values. And so I can tell you, I work with presidents every day. You guys, you know, Dr. Rhodes is very famous in higher ed, as I'm sure many of you know, and so we were thrilled to be able to work with him. And one of the things that he's famous for is he cares. What he just said to you all, he means very, very deeply. I know his colleagues that know him and have known him for most of his career. He cares, and those stories that he just told are fundamentally authentic, true, and you guys are really, really lucky to have him as a leader. So just a quick round of applause for Dr. Rhodes. Okay, moving on, if I could invite my tri-chair colleagues up to the front. I wanted to give you all some context. The mission, vision, and values underpin the strategic plan, but the heart and soul of the strategic plan is like, what are you going to do? What are you going to actually do to move the university forward? And that's the strategies, objectives, and action plans. We're going to talk today about the strategies and objectives. The action plans are incredibly granular. They were developed by a team of your colleagues, and they're an Excel spreadsheet that translate into the tasks. We're not going to get into those in detail today, but we are going to talk about the strategies, which are the high-level plan to achieve one or more goals under a condition of uncertainty, which I think all of us in higher ed know we are currently in. We're also going to talk about objectives, specific results that a person or system aims to achieve within a time frame and within available resources, right? Constraints. So that's the context for what we're going to talk about now, and I'd like to invite Dr. Redmond up front to help us appreciate the first strategy and objective that we developed.
So one of the real exciting parts of this process and revelations of this process was hearing from the community members. As Dan said earlier, we had more people talking about who we are as an institution than I think we probably ever have had at any time in our institution, and that was really exciting. And one of the things that they articulated is how important that we're not just an institution, but an academic institution. And so really bolstered by that energy and by the broad conversations this process allowed us to have, we arrived on a strategy for academic excellence that asks us to develop and promote academic programs that respond to the evolving needs of our students and industries, positioning our graduates for success in their communities. And we wanted the communities to be very broad. Our students go into all sorts of communities. We want them to be equally successful in all of those. And our objectives and ways we're meeting that strategy, one is to find increased university level of support for discipline-specific standards. So this really extends out what we were doing at the QEP, making a community of writers within the disciplines. We really held on to that idea. Increased university level support for discipline-specific standards for learner-centered academic programs by increased allocation of resources based on annual program assessment processes. So finding ways to connect our assessment process to budget asks. Increased connectedness and collaboration in learning context, regardless of delivery modality. By the end of the year, academic 2028, we're doing a really great job creating various forms of connectedness, but one of the things that was not as exciting was discovering our students not feeling as connected to each other, as connected to faculty, across the board. There were definitely moments where people feel connected to each other and to faculty, but we want this to be for as many people as possible. The third objective was expand high-impact educational strategies that directly respond to the needs of our students, including early college, high school students, military-affiliated, first-generation, working adults, and those with varying levels of academic and professional preparation. And honestly, this is the reason why I'm at Texas A&M University, Central Texas, is because we have a kind of focused statement of the kind of populations that we're after, and we mean for that. Though we mean to be after populations that other parts of our society would just let fall to the wayside and not have opportunity. And so because we have this kind of breadth is why I'm here and why I'm super excited to have this part of our objective and part of what it means to have academic excellence at A&M University, Central Texas. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Brandon, I think. I was reminded earlier, so I better get that right.
I'm still trying to figure out how Alan only got one slide, but I digress.
But I talked enough for two, so.
Touche. Okay, so just real quick, I have to say this publicly. Gail, I am super jealous of y'all's polos. I think y'all are rocking it, and next time, Student Affairs, we're going to bring it, okay? Okay, so as we look at student success, one of the things I'm really grateful for, I think over the last 4 to 5 years, we as a university has really come together and we have rallied behind, we need to focus more on student success. I think that we always have, but there's been more of a concerted effort to focus on that. And so within this plan, we specifically looked at student success and we expanded the concept of what student success is, not only looking at our current students, but the entire journey. And so looking at from recruitment through alumni relations, fostering a vibrant community that enhances student belonging, access, and then lifetime engagement. And so the specific objectives very closely mirror that. The first one is we want to ensure that there's a meaningful onboarding and academic support experience for new and incoming students. And so what we're looking at is through the recruitment process, Transfer Central, orientation, the entire first year experience, how are we enhancing that for students where they feel connected, right? And so through this, we're hoping by a lot of different strategies, we can increase our persistence rates and then improve their ability to think and feel that, wow, A&M Central Texas is a supportive environment, as demonstrated on the NESI. The second objective is enrich the student life experience by increasing student utilization of identified student support services by 10%, and enhance student satisfaction of these services by looking at the student experience survey and the graduate exit survey. And so I think this one's very different, and I think it's phrased a little bit differently than we would typically think about it in terms of utilization of services, right? But how many of y'all have chatted with a student and they're in their last semester or they're about to graduate and they make this comment, wow, I had no idea y'all offered that, right? Or I had no idea that I could access this program, right? And so kind of working backwards, we knew, one, we've worked hard in marketing these programs, but how do we better market our student support programs in a way that makes sense to them and make sure that they have adequate access to all of these student support programs? And so by doing that, we can increase the utilization of those programs. The last one here is strengthen the alumni experience by engaging alumni throughout the journey. By targeting a 10% increase in alumni engagement. And so I know for me, I know historically I've thought about alumni engagement as looking at how are we getting donations and philanthropic gifts to the university. That's not necessarily what we're looking at here, but rather how do we integrate alumni into the student experience, whether we want to look at in the class, outside the class, mentorships, internships, all of those functions, and integrate both of these communities much better than what we have done in the past. The second one, y'all are going to get really excited on this one. The second one is the employee experience. And so one of the things that was very central to this group is how do we rethink the employee experience, looking at faculty and staff, which is very different than what we have done in the 2 previous iterations of our strategic plans here at the university. And so this was forefront, looking at the employee experience and how do we become an employer of choice within the region by specifically looking at competitive compensation, a culture of connectedness and caring, and overall employee well-being. And so as you look at the objectives on here, you can see first here, the first 2 are very closely related, but the first one is by September of 2027, fully adopt a more comprehensive and competitive compensation plan that's reflective of the region and the industry. And so that's not saying a month before 2027, we're going to implement a plan, right? Quite differently. I know Tina and her team, they're looking at beginning doing some of this work this fall, and then over the next couple of years have that fully adopted by the university. So we all see compensation being much more competitive within the region. And that leads us to number 2, so increase the percentage of employees who feel they are fairly compensated by their work by a significant margin. And in the action steps, we actually look at the specific percentages of what they have been in the past and how we want to see them grow. So we can increase compensation, and that's great. If we're only to do it minorly, right, that's not going to impact number 2, right? And so we want to make sure it's fair, and everybody within the university community is able to say, yeah, I'm fairly compensated. The third one here is achieve a 70% completion rate of a professional development program with a leadership track designed for faculty and staff with the skills to potentially advance within their careers. And so one of the things that we know here at the university is, staff stay here and they love working here, and the new staff that we recruit, they want to advance, right? And so not just looking at, okay, when a vacancy comes up, are you eligible for that position? But how are we giving you the specific tools that you believe that you need? And we think maybe as your supervisor, these are the next steps for you. So how are we giving you the tools, the skills to advance in your career? The last one here is increase the percentage of employees who agree relevant information is effectively disseminated across the university. One of the things we know is we are working across the university to better collaborate and to communicate. And so when a specific update, a new event, and a program is launched within the university, how do we make sure that people know about that, right? Besides sending emails, but how do we make sure that we are communicating what we're doing, why we're doing it in a way that makes sense to everybody, where we can all be on the same page as we're moving forward across the university. So that is it for mine. Before I introduce Vicki, one of the things I have to say is, Alan, myself, and Vicki, we have all worked very close over the last several months, getting the strategic plan kicked off. I think I speak for Alan and myself. If anybody pulled more work in the group, it would be Vicki. There have been many times that her and her team have been leading the administrative side, the task side of everything. And I know a few different instances. There have been times when Vicki has said, okay, let's pause here. We need to slow this process down, get some more impact or some more feedback. And other times she's like, okay, we got to speed this up. So if y'all will join me in a round of applause for Vicki.
Very kind. Thank you very much. Let's turn it. So community collaboration. First of all, we are a regional university. So we impact our region and our region impacts us. Can I have my colleagues who helped with the community collaboration? So Alba, stand. Hannah, stand. Dr. Fulmore back there. Let's see, Tatiana. And Jeffrey Barron. Anyway, round of applause. So they helped to give this legs and to make this real. So we're looking at specifically high growth industry partners. What are those? Cybersecurity, healthcare, manufacturing, technology. Those are very, very important to us as a region. And so we need to pay attention to those and grow those. We want to look at career-aligned experiential learning opportunities, and that's where many of our faculty are doing so much interesting stuff, and I know a little bit about some of that, and I'd love to learn more from faculty who are doing some of this within their classrooms. It's making a huge difference in our students' lives, so thank you for what you do deep in the classes. And then also we want to make sure that we cultivate our military-affiliated individuals. That is a giant population of who we serve, and we have such a great opportunity because we have Fort Cavazos, and every month we have about 800 who are leaving the military, and so we want to take advantage of that. That's a giant piece that we need to pay attention to and be sensitive to. And why do we want to really look at veterans? They're dependable. They're cooperative. They have high initiative. They're independent. They have a very diverse pool. They're great, great individuals. And so we want to make sure to highlight them and care for them. That's all I want to say on that slide. And then awareness. What are we going to do to make sure that our unique value proposition is out there? How are we different? What are we contributing? We want to increase our engagement and make sure that our brand awareness is out there. We want to stop being a good secret. And I want to, I had my members of the community collaboration stand up. May I have Jonathan stand up? And, yeah. You'll notice I just said Jonathan. Yeah, I know. I was getting ready to bring him up. I know. And Dr. Loafman's not in the room, I don't believe, but he and Jonathan did the heavy lifting on this. And, you know, we would pause and wait for others to join that group, and nobody joined. So I think that causes all of us to try to carry this together, that we, you know, it's not resting completely on his shoulders. It's all of our responsibilities to do the brand awareness, to make sure that we're out in the community talking about how great we are. So thank you very much, Jonathan and Dr. Loafman. So those are our strategies and our objectives for all, for all of the things that we made to have, sorry, y'all can go. Sorry, no. Yep, sorry. I was going to say just a few more things, though, about Campus Works. Campus Works provided what we could not have done for ourselves. And so working with Dan has been just really, really great. He had the right demeanor. He was funny, wouldn't take himself too serious, wouldn't allow us to take ourselves too serious, but really gave the vision and the words that sometimes we just didn't have. And so I really, really appreciate getting to work with Dan. JP, you're many behind the scenes kind of guy, but you're very helpful as well. So thank you, Campus Works. Thank you, teams, my tri-chairs. It was great to work with y'all and to get to know each of you differently than what I had known before. So thank you.
All right, well, we're going to bring this puppy home in many ways. I did want to just quickly, Alan? No, that's true. You did not. I wanted to just make sure that you guys were aware. I mentioned that people on the team said, hey, we did all this work, we want to make sure it's getting implemented. We spent a good deal of time with the executive leadership team coming up with this eye chart. So this is a graphic that represents how we intend from a governance perspective and from a workflow perspective to ensure that the strategic plan is actually executed. And it really, really is pretty straightforward. We have about 175 rows on a spreadsheet that lay out step by step how we're going to execute the objectives that the tri-chairs just read through. Those are annual action plans that you see in green. Working with Todd, we developed a budget request methodology to ensure that these things were not pie in the sky and that they would actually be funded. And there's, like a form that the leaders of these strategies have to use to tie them back and prove the business case for the budget request. I want to stress, this is an ongoing effort. This is not like college basketball is now, one and done. This is ongoing. We're doing annual action plans. I'll bet you $1 million that that's going to turn into biannual eventually, and then even quarterly. Like, It's going to be rapid iteration of these plans. They merge very nicely with the annual department plans that the various academic and support departments are developing. Some folks, like Brandon, for example, waiting for the confirmation of this plan to begin his planning, but it's all inclusive. And then finally, all of your goals as employees currently involve some of the strategies and objectives of your current plan, but that's only going to be enhanced. So, very detailed implementation plan, but most important to me, I want to pause and follow the methodology that we've been using. We just dumped a lot of information on you. It'll all be available through Clifton publicly in a very pretty and awesome format. But I wanted to pause for a moment and open the floor up to discussion and/or questions briefly. Can't go on for, well, as long as Dr. Rhodes does, but, you know, can't go on forever. But we certainly want to make sure that we open the floor for questions or thoughts, both the virtual floor and the immediate floor. So, questions, sir.
I think we've kind of formed an impression of what the community wants, and that may not be what they actually want.
Yeah.
And I'm really interested to see more of that.
Sure. I'll highlight two things. Number one, we did over 12 focus groups with community members. Community members contributed to 3 broad surveys. And the headlines are embedded into the objectives as much as the strategies, but the objectives. It's really 3 things. 2.5 things. Number one, as Vicki indicated, continued, and frankly, from an outside perspective, I won't get fired for saying this, more now than has been in recent years, connection to Fort Cavazos. And what's the thing in Austin? You're always, I forget the name, the other military Army Futures Command. They want to ensure that those folks and the family members know that A&M Central Texas is the place to go when you want to further advance your education. That was a big thing. Second thing from the business and industry community was around, like, soft skills is the common phrase. Making sure that they're not only technically job ready, but that they know how to speak to other humans, and customer service oriented stuff and soft skills kind of stuff. And then the third was, there's this little city south of here that's sort of growing up north of here, and wanting to make sure that A&M Central Texas is connected to the needs of the growth of Austin. Those were the 3 things that, headlines, there's a lot of detail underneath that, but those were the 3 things that came through from the community most. Is that helpful? Does that answer the question? Cool. Anything coming through online, Vicki? Andrea must not be online yet. Hi, Andrea. Any other thoughts, questions? And by the way, I'm happy to share my email address if you want to email me, ask me anything. I'm a pretty transparent, open guy, so happy to share. And like, if you want to see the summaries and of the community thoughts, we summarized all the workshops and all the. Happy to share it with you. You know, it doesn't mention you specifically, so I'll email it to you. Yes.
To that point, we have a lot of great data. Whoop. Now I have to whisper. We have a lot of great data. Is that going to go somewhere? Like, do we have plans to move some of those items?
It currently sits on your servers. What you may, or, you know, there's a lot of granular detail. I don't actually know the answer to that. That question is on you. So it's something that I think we, with IT, Vicki, and the executive leadership team should consider. I will say this. As you move into implementation, you will continually need to reference back the data set that we developed, which is, 100 documents deep. You will need to continually reference back to that. How you make that available, that varies so much by school. I got to leave that in your capable hands. I am personally most excited about this next segment. So unless there are other questions, I'm going to turn this back over to A&M Central Texas for, this little thing called students. It's kind of why we're all here. So thank you very much.
I am going to ask the students to come up here. And actually, I might move the chairs up so you can all see them. So let's have 3 chairs up kind of over here. Come on up, students. And then do we have a roving mic?
Yes,
Okay.
right.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay. One for this side and one for, okay. Perfect. All right. We have the best student panel you can believe with us today. And so I will start from over here and introduce kind of who they are. I'm going to let them talk about themselves after that. But first, I'm just going to introduce all 5 of them first. And so Rachel has actually been with us a couple of times talking to people from the LBB, from the Legislative Budget Board, and from the Lieutenant Governor's Office, had some people here, and you name it, and she's been in the conversation to talk about it. And so Rachel, thank you for joining us. She's going to talk a little bit about her background and her major, and some incredible stories about her past experience, but more importantly, where she's headed. And then next to her, then we've got Marisol. And Marisol is from the Early College High School, Killeen Early College High School, sociology major, if I am correct, yes, and doing really well, and has a story of her own to tell you about a little bit about her history and why she's at Texas A&M Central Texas and what the difference is making. So Marisol, thank you for joining us. And then we've got Alyssa, and Alyssa is also from the Early College High School. She is an education major. She's going to be a teacher, pre-K through first grade, I think. And it wasn't her original intent, but her whole family is just a cluster of teachers. And she didn't have much of a choice. It was ingrained. So she'll talk a little bit about that experience. Then we've got Edward. So Edward was in the military, and he is one of the students who is majoring in CIS. But if you ask him a little bit about his experience, what you're going to hear, I think he's worked in every single field possible, and finally came around to say, I really like CIS. Hopefully you're going to stay with CIS. But he's also a student who, we have a great partnership with Tritium. He is employed by Tritium, and as he is working towards his degree, and so he's it's a paid internship. And so glad to have you here, and maybe you can share some stories about HEB and some of the other places you've been. And then we got Chuck. Chuck is 79 years young, graduated in the spring from Texas A&M Central Texas. He's got the ring to prove it. And one thing I've got to tell you is that come Monday morning, this next Monday morning, It appears right now that Chuck is going to be on CBS Morning News nationally. So Chuck retired from the Houston Police Department and got his bachelor's degree with us from criminal justice. He starts his master's degree with us starting next week in Homeland Security. So, I know I already told some of their stories, but let's start with Rachel real quick. And can you just talk a little bit about yourself, how you got here? She's also a veteran. So she was in the Army.
Yes.
And so, Rachel, I'm going to turn it over to you. Tell us about yourself and your story.
Okay. Hello. Oh, hi, I'm Rachel. I'm 27. I'm a junior here at Texas A&M University, Central Texas. I just finished my first year here on campus as a computer information systems major with concentration software engineering and database design. I'm in the middle of a career change. I was in Army aviation, flying recon drones for 8 years, did some DoD contracting, some research and development with the Air Force, worked in general aviation as well. I'm a private pilot. So 8 years of aviation, decided on a whim I was going to change careers and came here to Central Texas and started this new program. So it was new and scary for me, but it's been a great year. I'm a little nervous, but I resonate really deeply with the value of being you want this to be a transformative experience, and for me especially, my first year here has been a very transformative experience. I've never doubted my aptitude. I've always clung very hard to my academic prowess, my 4.0s, my accomplishments, but I lacked a sense of belonging, especially when deciding to quit aviation and starting something new and getting back from Iraq. So I really struggled with feeling like I belonged to a community, and the military is like, you're sad, suck it up, So I tried to convince myself I was a very stoic and unemotional person. I didn't need friends and stuff. I had my accomplishments to make me valuable, but especially having the Student Wellness Center here and like Dr. Amuna, who is absolutely brilliant and needs a raise, and also working with her for the past year has been absolutely incredible, and working with Campus Recreation, who gave me my first friends, my first girlfriends, my first non-military friends, and playing, pickup sports with them. And now I work with them, so maybe I'm a little biased. So I've always had the resources, I've always had the aptitude, but the sense of belonging and not basing my entire worth off of what I can accomplish has actually been very liberating. And that has happened thanks to the resources available to me here at Texas A&M Central Texas. So the past year for me actually has been, I say this with authenticity, genuinely transformative for me. But yeah, so I'm excited to finish my degree next year, maybe get into data science, maybe not. I don't know, who knows, I don't cling as hard to my, how marketable can I be? I'm like, you know what? I have the social support, thanks to Texas A&M, that no matter what I do, even if I fail, I have a community to support me, and I have a voice here, and people do value me and recognize me, and I do belong here, outside of school. So I'm very appreciative for that.
All right. You do belong here.
Thank you.
Marisol.
Yes. Hello, my name is Marisol. I'm 19 years old. As the president said, I did come from early college high school. My transition here wasn't the easiest. I do struggle with ADHD, so my entire academic career, it was hard for me. I didn't have the best grades, so my GPA wasn't the highest. It was a 2.0. when I started. And of course, because I was at a 2.0, and a lot of colleges did not like that. But luckily, Texas A&M, they accepted me even though I didn't finish my associates yet, so I'm still working on that. Hopefully, I will get that finished. So yeah, I didn't really think college was for me. My parents forced me into college. They're like, at least get a bachelor's, and by next year I should be able to get that bachelor's. I don't know what else to say. I'm sorry.
No, that's great. And I know when I encouraged her that once she gets her bachelor's degree, don't stop. Go ahead and get your master's degree. And I think she's going to. Yeah. Alyssa.
Hey, it's my turn. I'm Alyssa. I'm also 19. I came from early college high school through the GTF program. I am majoring in education with a concentration in EC through 6. And like Dr. Rose said, I want to do pre-K through first. I want the little ones. A&M has been an experience for me. I seem like a social butterfly, but I don't have very many friends. So when I came here with the GTF program, I was able to see familiar faces and even new faces that allowed me to gain the friendships and the networking that I needed, and has allowed me to do things like this and do more student panels and talk to more people. That has given me the opportunity to branch out and do things that I never expected to do. So I'm very, truly grateful for this program.
Good.
No.
Good. Thanks, Alyssa. We got one over here. Okay. So Edward.
Hello. All right. So my name is Edward Carr. I'm 26 years old, and I am a computer information systems major with a concentration in cybersecurity. I do struggle with anxiety a little bit, and it's kind of nerve-wracking seeing all you staring at me. So, I'm gonna take this one step at a time. So, a month and 6 days after graduation, I went off to the military. I wanted to go to college. I had it in the back of my mind, but I also wanted to do something to contribute to my family's financial situation. I didn't come from the most fortunate background. So I did that. I went into the military. I was able to assist my family in the process, and I was able to go ahead and dive into school as soon as I was eligible to do so. I started at CTC. I cycled through a couple of different majors there too. I ended up deciding on interdisciplinary studies, and I received my associate's degree prior to me getting out and not touching my GI Bill, so I got to use my tuition assistance. After that, I just kind of bounced around a little bit. I worked at Mass Tech. That didn't last very long. I tried out a Children's State Hospital. I didn't like that. And I went to HEB, and I worked for 2 years in the seafood market. So y'all have any fish-related questions, y'all come see me after this. And after that, I ended up putting myself through the police academy at CTC, where I got out of the police academy, did law enforcement for 2 years. So shout out to the law enforcement in the back. All right, so this is really the first time anybody in my family has done this. You know, I'm a first generation student. Shout out Tri Alpha. I am a member of Tri Alpha, which is a student organization here for first generation college students. So after bouncing around, I find myself in the midst of yet another career change that my friend talked me into. I don't have really a technical background, so I was very, very hesitant to enter into this program. I just knew everybody was going to be smarter than me. I just knew they was going to be speaking a different language. They was going to be speaking coding languages, and I speak English. So, but I'm very grateful because the professors were patient, they were thorough, they were diligent. And they provided me that foundation that I need to where I feel a lot more comfortable now, and I am currently in my senior year. This is my last semester starting Monday, so I will see you all in December for graduation. Also, well, with that being said, that's okay with Professor Gray. You know, I take him twice this semester, but no, he's a very great professor. He's very thorough. I love taking his class. I will be taking him for 2 classes this upcoming semester, and I've taken him once before. So I'm looking forward to it. So being that I didn't have a tech background, even though my mom thought I was a tech guru, because she didn't plug the HDMI port into the correct slide. So I fixed that for her. But yes, so me just going around campus, looking into different things. I originally went to my academic advisor, Miss Patrice Taylor, to just check on some classes and make sure that I was on track for graduation. It was a few questions that I had. I ended up sitting in her office. It was the first time I ever met with her in person. So I wanted to break the awkward silence that was going on in the room. So I was just like, hey, how's your day going? And we began talking, and we had a long conversation. And at the end of our conversation, whenever everything was pretty much wrapped up, she asked, hey, have you ever heard of tritium? I was like, yeah, I received the massive emails about tritium and their open intern positions. But I am cybersecurity concentrated. So I was like, they didn't have any cyber slots open. So I just was like, okay, maybe that's not for me. Anybody who's familiar with cybersecurity know that that is a very difficult space to break into right now. So especially if you don't have any kind of experience, no type of background, right? So she was like, I encourage you to revisit that thought, give it some more consideration, and get back with me. So I went home and I prayed over it. I was like, God, if this is an opportunity that you want me to partake, then, you know, set my path. Needless to say, I'm 6 months in with Tritium now as a system engineering intern with them. And I'm just so very grateful because I was turned down numerous times by numerous internships. I put in hundreds of applications and just trying to get my foot in the door, but no company was willing to take that chance on me until I came to Tritium. And it was truly a blessing. They've instilled so many professional core values in me. They've taught me this job. They've developed me. I'm a part of the AOTI team, and my manager is Angel Johnson, and she always tell me from day one, you're not going to fail because I'm not going to let you fail because you're not going to embarrass me. So I took that tough love, and I've been able to produce excellent work with them, and it's truly been a pleasure. They are a blessing, and they are helping students beyond measure, and it's thanks to Texas A&M for implementing those type of programs, working with these companies to introduce this to students so they can begin to form those skills needed for work post-graduation. So I'm just very grateful to be sitting here and able to tell my story to you all. Rachel, whenever you start with them, I'm pretty sure that you're going to experience much of the same. They are truly a great company, and you're going to really enjoy yourself. So thank you, Texas A&M. Thank you, all my professors. Thank you, Tritium. Y'all are great.
All right. Chuck, can I get your autograph?
I did not do this for attention. I done it for this ring also from this college. But first of all, I'd like to say that all of y'all in this room, y'all are my heroes, and I appreciate all that y'all give to me and to everybody in the communities. And it's fantastic, more than you know, I'm going to assure you. So thank you. I had completed 2 years of college. They told me I was a non-traditional student for some reason. In my late 20s and early 30s, I got about 2 years of college, your basics behind you, and wanted to continue. But I was married and 3 kids and working in extra jobs as policemen do. It didn't work out for me. It did for others, but it didn't for me. So I'm sitting at home during COVID. A few years back, I told Dr. Rhodes I was a lot younger then. I was only 77. And I said, you know, I'll bet I can finish my bachelor's degree online, which you couldn't even have done it by correspondence course, I don't think, when I started. But sure enough, I checked and I could. And I decided, I live in Huntsville, Texas, to go to Sam Houston State University. And my granddaughter-in-law, who has a master's degree in accounting from this university, and by the way, if y'all ever taught Catherine Mays, she is a young executive with Shell Oil Company and rising quick. So y'all done a good job. So she said, Papa, you can get that degree from Texas A&M Central Texas, where I got my master's. I said, who do I call? And so I've completed my bachelor's degree. I'm going to try for my master's. I'll do the best. And to all of my instructors this semester, and Dr. Rhodes, and all my future instructors, give me your address and I'll be glad to cut your grass. But that's probably enough.
Oh, that's awesome. You know, these are great stories, and this is what we're all about, is we have to know our students, and we have to know their stories if we want to help them in the transformative journey. And so, you know, it's critical. And what you have heard are how important things are, like our relationship with early college high schools, our relationship with the K-12 districts that we work with, our relationship with CTC. Our community college partners are critical. We are an upper division graduate degree granting institution. We depend on great relationships. We have to be the best partner with our community colleges, with our early college high schools throughout the area of Central Texas. But also, you heard, we have 2 veterans, 2 that were in the military. How critical, how important that is to have that. And so that relationship and that understanding of where they're coming from, what they have, what they bring, what they add value to us. And so really important understandings. And then partnerships, like with Tritium. So we have 2 now. So Edward's already with them, and Rachel starts with Tritium. And so paid internships, they make a difference in students' lives. The experience that comes along with the academic knowledge. So I'm going to ask one more question, but it's a 2-part question. What was the best experience that you had at Texas A&M University, Central Texas thus far? And how can we be better? So what can we do to add to that? And Rachel, do you want to go first?
My The best experience I've had at Texas A&M University Central Texas is the number of instructors or faculty members who have invited me to participate in events on campus, or recommended me for internships, or recommended me for all these really awesome opportunities. Not all of them worked out, but that instilled like a sense of confidence and recognition that like encouraged me to keep trying and to keep networking and to step out of my shell. The intimacy of the campus, it's small, which has its own challenges, which I think are also related to some of the less desirable parts of the campus. I don't mean for that to sound so rude, my bad. But the intimacy amongst students, the student-to-student relationships and the student-to-instructor relationships are very like mutually encouraging, and motivating. And I've really enjoyed that aspect of being here. I'm not in this giant sea of students being completely forgotten, or I'm not just a number here. And that's really important and valuable to me. The biggest struggle is the class availability. That's a part, of being a small campus and especially being a veteran, where my monthly housing allowance and my benefits are how much I receive, and my ease of living my day-to-day life depends on the class availability. Am I able to get an in-person class? Do I have enough classes to be full-time, and how that's going to affect me for the next 4 months? So getting classes dropped, and it happens, but that can be a little bit difficult to navigate. And there has been times where I've wondered, well, if I stay for my master's, will it make me stay an extra semester? Will I still have GI Bill left? If I have to stay that extra semester, will I have to work that semester because I don't have enough classes? So important things to consider, because the class availability does have those second and third order of effects that impact my quality of life.
Good. Thank you, Rachel. Yeah, Alyssa.
For me, I would say, like she said, the professors. Coming from early college, I was already used to having a smaller class size. And then when I started at CTC, the professors don't, I wouldn't say care as much as they do here. So it was a little bit different. So as soon as I came here, I had Dr. Garcia, Dr. Black, and Dr. Caldwell help me a lot through what I was going through with my different classes, especially with the changing and transferring my credits over and passing my tests. So that's been one of the best experiences I've had. The only, I want to say, difficulty would be, like she said, the dropping of classes and the changing of classes, because there's some times where I'm like, well, what class am I supposed to take, or y'all don't offer it here, so it kind of pushes me back a little bit. I would just say the communication on that side of, if you're going to change a class, kind of let us know more ahead of time, or tell us that you're thinking about changing a class, so that way we can plan accordingly, especially with the education department, with us doing a lot more and getting ready for us to be teachers. It's a lot more difficult to plan accordingly, especially holding a job. So I would say just the communication aspect would be the biggest struggle for us on this side.
Good, good. Thanks, Elise. And let's go over here and I'll come back to you. Okay, so Edward.
Our best experience here.
I would say that the greatest experience that I've had here at Texas A&M is the fact that you all gave me a reason to believe in myself. Y'all helped me out a lot. Like I said, I don't have any background like technology experience, so I thought that I wouldn't excel the way that I have in this degree program, but I've proven myself wrong numerous times, and I've gained so much knowledge throughout my coursework, and I really appreciate how readily available my professors are, and how it's been great. I thank you all for developing me as a person, as a professional. Thank you, Tritium, for giving me those skills that I'll need for the workforce. That part has been great. The only thing that I would say is, I guess, yeah, going back to the same thing, the class availability, because I was kind of panicking when I was registering, so I made sure I registered super, super early because I don't want to risk the chance of having my graduation pushed back. I graduate in December, so if I didn't have the classes on my schedule that I do now, like if they weren't available for me to enroll in, I would have to enroll in them for next semester and unfortunately have to graduate in spring 25. And also just more student organizations so students can become more involved and we can see each other a lot more and, you know, get those relationships with each other because it's students that I don't think I've ever seen any of these people up here. So, and I'm sure they can say the same about me. So, yeah, that's all I have.
Great. Thanks, Edward. Chuck?
The best experience I've had when I applied to attend this university and I came up here on a visitation day, I wanted to see it. I'm online student, still am, for anybody that didn't know. And I'm going to just pick one person out first person I met was Dr. Quinones. And she said, what do you want to do? And I want to major in criminal justice. I said, I'm unsure. Can I do it? I don't even know if I can use the computers right now. You'll be fine. If you have any problems, you call me. I'll be here. And she meant it. I've talked to her every semester since I've been here, and she gives me advice. So I don't want to exclude all the people that's helped me, but that was the first one, and I would like to say that. What y'all can do better, that one's hard. Stay with this strategic plan, and y'all are going to be the greatest. In fact, it'll be more important to be a warrior than an Aggie.
My gosh, how can you beat that? We are warriors. Oh, thank you. So join me. Marisol.
Okay. I might have a different experience from everyone because I am 100% online. But the professors are great. They're very lenient and they're very understanding because I do have a job that's very, I don't know, like what's the word? Like demanding? Because I do work with kids. I work with kids from, my youngest is 2 all the way up to 18. I'm a dance teacher. So that takes up most of my time. The professors are wonderful. The classes are great. But because I am online, it is a lot of reading, but that's okay. What else are we supposed to talk about again?
Anything we can do better.
Challenges.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess one right now, I do have social anxiety, so this was very hard for me. I'm so sorry. Let's just call that allergies, okay? But yes, shout out to Miss Natisha over there. She's helping me through the Greater Texas Foundation program. And I guess one of the challenging parts was I was invited to the leadership conference, where I had to talk to every single person from the GTF program in the state of Texas. And that was the hardest thing ever. There was so many people, but I had a lot of fun. So, yeah.
Awesome. How important it is to have those relationships with foundations, such as the Greater Texas Foundation, you just heard that. How important it is to have multiple delivery pathways of curriculum, whether it's online, face-to-face, or hybrid, how critical it is for the success of students to have opportunities in all of those areas of those venues. Like Chuck said, you know, to be able to take online courses, and why do you live in? No, that's okay. It's okay. When you could be in Central Texas, but no. And I want to recognize somebody that's in the audience because you heard about Tritium. So Van, so the CEO for Tritium happens to be with us today. And employs a number of our students, and which allows them to find their passion, but to stay in school because they've got the job to pay for it now. How critical is that to have that kind of a partnership and relationship? So thank you, Van. Did I miss anything, Kelly? Okay, Vicki. Okay. So I want you to join me in thanking our panel of students. Aren't they awesome? And they. This is Texas A&M Central Texas. This is what we're about. So thank you all. Do I have anything else I'm supposed to do? Here they are. Thank each of you.
For your hands. Thank you.
Okay. And they get the challenge coin. So thank you. Thank you. Okay, I think that concludes the convocation for this morning. So thank you for joining us, whether you're in person or joined us virtually. Really appreciate you. Have a wonderful semester, and God bless you all.
You want us to move these chairs back?